Hi, I'm Anureet. I'm a poet and a filmmaker, and my art revolves around making queer films, making films queerly. I think a film cannot just be queer in the subject. Like a lot of films I see these days, especially in mainstream Bollywood, they have queer characters, they have queer narratives about coming out, coming of age, um, problems with the family, problems with the government. However, I do see the lens of these films is not still very queer. It largely comes down to also who is writing these films, who is directing these films, who is making sure the art decoration is there, who all sorts of things, and that lensing comes from understanding not just our usual way of films, which is say the first act, the second act, the third act, the hero, the heroine, the dance sequence, the drama, the happy ending, but also how can we queer the structure of the film itself? How can we make a film which is queer not just in subject but also in thought, in terms of the treatment of light, the treatment of the camera, the treatment of the sound, and the space for nothingness also within it. So right now I'm making this film called Kiski Hai Chandni. It is my first docu-fiction film, which it is essentially about the nights of Delhi and the contestations for space, the contestations of liberties, and who has access to the night, who gets to roam around freely, look at the moon, and the politics of the night. A lot of Delhi is a very political city, as all cities are, but because of it being the capital of the country, there is a lot of movements which go on, and do they sort of rise during the day when the media captures them. In the night, there's no one to see them. And where do these people go in the night? Where do the farmers who were protesting go in the night? Do they rest? Do they sit and plan and plot? Do they just extend their legs and sit down around? Or Shaheen Bagh was also about a sit-in protest about reclaiming that space in the night. As a queer person, I've seen that most of me and my friends, we just venture out at night because I think it's safer. The visibility is less, so the violence also is less apparent. I do believe like queer activists in our country are the ones we don't really see on newspapers or in um, on Instagram or in large events, because there is this gap between the people doing the work and the people who are enjoying the work by sole optics. So there are lots of huge organizations that exist, old queer rights organizations, but now they have become, there's a sort of neoliberal corporatization of pride, wherein pride is just about buying things, selling things, looking good, talking the right way, enjoying, dancing to the music. And I feel that this joy should be afforded to most queer people. However, it also comes at the cost of the marginalized queer people, the queer people who are not upper caste, who are not upper class, those who don't live in metropolitan cities, those who are actually facing the brunt of the Islamophobic government, the casteist acts of various governments again, and also of people. Queer spaces can never be devoid of things like conversations about Palestine, about Kashmir, about Naxalbari, about the ecological destruction of our times. And now they're becoming very, very blingy in a way. So I think that activism, I don't think I'm the right person to comment on the activism since I am a filmmaker, but I do understand that what we see of the queer movement on our screens is just a fraction of the privileged, well-off queers. Large part of the country is also queer. The masses are also queer. Say, plumber can also be queer. A person who paints the walls of a house is also queer. But we don't see them at these parties, and we never shall, because queerness cannot fully be realized without addressing the structures of class, of caste, of religion, of identity. I think someone cannot be called less queer or more queer just by their proximity to the correct language or the correct way of expressing. Most people are still in closets. Most people still go back to very abusive families, very abusive localities. And for that, I don't think, because this access to language and this access to political correctness, especially with things like language or optics, becomes a very privileged thing to do. Because I feel a queer person who has not enough to eat will first try to make that arrangement, then get into an Instagram warfare with someone over something else. So I do see, like, yeah, pronouns are important. I do see, like, the idea of queer joy is important. I do see that coming out and those narratives are important, but those narratives cannot be the sole thing we talk about.
Delhi as a place, as a city, has a very nice art culture, right? You have museums and you have walks and you have a number of artists having their shows and galleries. But we lack something. We lack places where not so elite people, like people like you and me, very middle class, very lower class people, can actually come without feeling that is this the right place for them? Can they just go in with a slipper? Can they just go in with the kind of clothes they wear, with the language they speak, and if it's they are not very English speaking GK2 living people, right? Can they just go there and say ki I like this kind of art and I feel this kind of creation of art is important, and in a city like Delhi I feel this is art, right? And this has been a challenge. This has been a very big challenge in terms of where do we get this space,
I
because
think community is a strong, support, because like most of the people who've been associated with us now have been associated with us, say, 5 years ago also. While this audience and this community is growing, it is also nice to know that, oh, people are like, we came to your last event. Oh, we also came to this event. This one was so much better. Oh, I really like this about this. Oh, I missed this what you were doing. So it's very interesting.
And we did an event just few months ago, which was called An Army of Lovers Cannot Die, which was after Valentine's Day, and which meant that love can mean so much more. And we as a community, and love cannot just exist in that very romantic ways. There are so many other ways that love exists. And what does that do? What does that do for us, for as a community, world? And how do we fight it then? How do we fight what we want, as a community, as we decide that, yes, this is something we think in the world is wrong, and we are trying to fight it. So a lot of thought we put in to, this is what we want from our event, and that's how we curate it. Poets around that, exhibitors who are exhibiting around that, films, who call upon these issues. So
it is also, we try to ensure that the artists we are platforming are also from various backgrounds and also from various marginalized communities who are not, say, platformed right now in various spaces. So be it queer artists, be it DBA artists, be it artists from regions of conflict like the Northeast, like Manipur, like Kashmir. Also artists who are Muslim and facing the brunt of the fascism of the government right now, and artists with disability, because it can't just be that it can't be an echo chamber that, oh, we listen to our own thoughts back and forth. So that is why, to create this multiplicity, first of all, I think it's important to acknowledge that this multiplicity exists, and any space which does not have this multiplicity is not that they haven't curated it as such, but it is that they have actively tried to avoid it from being such. So that is something we are conscious of.